Good morning to the East Coast. Or actually, why do I always say it's good morning here on the West Coast, good afternoon on the East Coast? Anyway, it's white to the point.
Yeah, this is
You
a,
can say,
this is one of the best things. This is white to the point, a black and forth conversation. I am officially ceding the spotlight to Boomer Jim because I am Gen X Deontay. It is the final episode of the calendar year of 2023, an illustrious year, I might add, by all counts. And just to represent what Jim and I mean to each other, the Blonde Bombshell got me this amazing zebra. It means a whole lot. I'm a zebra fan, but this represents Gemini. And when I say Gemini, I'm not talking about the astrological sign either. This is
I,
pretty.
t- I tell you what, given how bad the officiating has been this year with the NFL, I don't think zebras are extremely popular.
Exactly. That was like one of the greatest puns you've ever came up with. But yeah, we are on this is New Year's Eve, and this is extracular. I call it extracular. It's a brand new word. It's extraordinary and spectacular put together.
Yeah, it is indeed the last show of the year. Looking forward to a new year, doing bigger and better things. Hopefully, those of you who join us, please help us make it happen. Help make Deontay's retirement fund happen.
Yeah, and exactly.
And no, the way to do that, join us on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe, ring the bell, of course. Help us out.
Yeah, YouTube is an exceedingly great platform. Next year will be 20 years since it came into existence. It's
Uh,
pretty profound.
hey, we're not alone with that zebra. Bobby K says his daughter has that zebra stuffy.
And you know what? Today is my mom's birthday too. So happy birthday, mom.
Yeah, you're saying you got a party for her tomorrow?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be pretty spectacular. It's gonna be at the Hilton, and that's in downtown Cleveland, which is a nightmare to be honest.
And talking about birthdays, what was it, a couple of days ago? It would have been Stan Lee's birthday
Oh yeah,
from
Stan
Marvel
Lee.
Comics.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Stan, didn't he do the whole Spider-Man thing?
Yeah, well, yeah, all of the Marvel Comics. I mean, that's Stan. The Iron Man and so forth. Stan would normally appeared in all of the Marvel movies. He had a cameo in them, things like that.
That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. But
Talking about cameos, Trump is claiming that the reason that Home Alone 2 was so successful was because he appeared as a cameo of himself in that movie. He was on screen for all of 6 seconds.
holy
He says
smoke.
that's what made that movie a success.
Well, I try to get people to believe that my 6 seconds worth of work is making everything a success, but that's a whole other story. Listen, Trump is always going to take credit for things, but never take blame for things. So if someone
Pretty
says,
much.
"Hey Trump, you had something to do with 9/11," he would say, "No way, no how, no." Even though his building is in New York City, but if 9/11 was a good thing, he would say it happened because my buildings are in New York City. you know,
Yep. And everywhere else. Hell, we have a Trump Tower here in Vegas,
it's
right
amazing.
there on the strip.
Wow.
And of course, and at the time it was built, he had to make certain it was the tallest building on the strip.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's true any longer. But here on the strip, things are always changing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Vegas is a place that I desperately need to go and want to go. And the blonde bombshell, she just said hello. So, hello, blonde bombshell.
Hello, Blondie. Blonde bombshell. That's a mouthful. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But,
she's.
but I don't want to say BJ.
Now that would be a mouthful.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're the one. Well, you said it. Where you were thinking it.
He's the one who actually went there with it.
Hey, you're the one that said it's a mouthful. Congratulations, Jim. You said a mouthful. But anyways, yeah,
Well, at least we're not. At least we don't have this tagged as being made for kids.
yeah, exactly. Speaking of making kids, no, but seriously, man, you were talking about Trump and Home Alone. I know that there's more Trump news in the form of him being taken off another ballot. First off, is this possible?
Yeah. Okay. Let's first off, let's take a look at a very short clip of Trump talking on January 6th. This is the this is what all of this brouhaha is all about. Is this section right here? Let's make certain we have sound.
There's no sound. It must be the same problem as last week.
Yeah, why is that?
I remember you did something. I have no idea what you did, but it was something magical. I love this. Trump
Yeah.
encourages those at his rally to march down to the Capitol. Oh man! Anytime Trump encourages you to do anything, just know you're probably sacrificing the last 20 years of your life in prison.
I don't remember what I did last week.
You probably fixed it.
Uh, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me take a look. Oh, this is horrible.
This is might be this is the most embarrassing thing that's happened in the past 30 seconds. I may as well play Zebra. Let's get along, let's blend races, let's get along, let's blend races. Let's not be racist, let's blend races. Let's blend races. Hi, Zebra. Whoa, hi. What's your name?
Let's try
Darnell
this
and
again.
Randolph. Okay. So he's a zebra, so his name is Darnell and it's Randolph at the same time. Darnell and Randolph. Middle name Kyle. This is the kind of stuff I have to
Okay,
do
I'm
with malfunction.
gonna stop it and bring it back and try and bring this back in.
I think that's what you did
This,
before. It was kind of humiliating.
yeah, I had to do something like that. You'd think I would know this, but and the hell of it is, this is the exact problem that Sean had for weeks on our Bloody Hook channel, where he wouldn't turn on the audio.
Oh my God, we're bleeding viewers now, Jim. People are like just logging out like it's Windows XP. Holy smokes. We are bleeding viewers now, man.
I'm looking for the I'm looking for the settings on this.
It's like people are trying to tune into The Price is Right to see Bob Barker and they're getting Drew Carey. This is humiliating. Well, Jim, I have an idea. Maybe you can use this to run a battery of tests.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. All right, let's try it now.
On our
Do
democracy.
you have any sound?
And
Yeah, look.
after this, we're going to walk down and I'll be there. Now it is
Okay.
up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
That's something that he just said? I mean, like recently?
No, that's what he said on January 6th.
I was going to say, what the heck?
That's at the heart of this controversy, right there. Now, let's go to the Constitution here.
Oh, I love it. You're going to bring up, this is going to be a social studies lesson. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I happen to think Trump is the greatest genius in American history. So let's see what's going on. As a matter of fact, Trump gave me this Confederate flag jacket. Don't tell anyone I told you.
Okay, here's the actual text. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid and comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Now, there's a couple of questions that's coming into play here. Number one, did that speech constitute inciting an insurrection?
What are your thoughts?
I'm going to say no. I mean, it falls far short of what the Supreme Court has held in the past on free speech about what constitutes incitement.
Well, yeah, it definitely did. It definitely incited.
And he didn't say attack or anything like that. He uses the word support, cheer on, this, encourage the citizens. I mean, I think you got to really push this one to twist it into what the Supreme Court has called incitement in the past.
Jim, I think you're blind as a bat if you don't think that was inciting.
I'm trying to look at it objectively.
Well, I like how you said, "Oh, he didn't say this, he didn't say that." Come on,
that's going to be the arguments.
But
that's what's going to come forward. I mean, I'm going to say this is what the lawyers are going to say. Number two, and this I think is actually a bit weaker. They're going to Trump's lawyers are going to say the 14th Amendment doesn't specifically say president or vice president. It says member of Congress or an officer of the United States, meaning an officer in the Army. A good example, like Robert E. Lee would not have been eligible to run since he was a former U.S. general that went and fought with the Confederacy.
Jim, this is exactly why I think Trump is a big genius, because he's got people like you being his peon, and you're being peed on.
No, I'm not being his peon. I'm just looking at objective. I'm just saying this is how I think it's going to play out.
The fact that I am a Trump supporter and I say that this is definitely inciting, that says everything.
I'm not a Trump supporter, but this is doomed to fail. Pure and simple. And this thing that just happened in Maine, let's go ahead and get that quickly.
Well, first of all, you're saying, oh, he didn't say this, he didn't say that. It's just like someone saying, hey, just let me maneuver your pants down to your ankles. That's not saying, hey, I'm gonna take some action from you.
Okay.
That's no different than that. So
well, let's see what happened here.
You're like arguing semantics, Jim. This sucks.
Well, that's what law is all about.
I'm sick of this, man. You're just supporting. You're supporting the cause, and it's no cause to support.
Okay, do you have that? Do you have audio?
I don't hear a damn thing except for your misgivings about Trump. That's all I hear. Trump incited a race war in that speech. You know that, and I know.
Okay, hang on a second here.
Race war. I ain't talking about Rusty Wallace either.
Let me put this screen up.
2024 presidential race. Maine Secretary of State announcing that former President Donald Trump has been removed from the state's primary ballot. 12 News reporter Jake Coulter joins us live in studio with the details. And Jake, Maine is not the first state to do this.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. If you remember earlier this month, the Colorado Supreme Court disqualified Trump from the ballot, so that makes Maine now the second state to do so. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows actually reaching this decision partly because of the ruling out of Colorado. She too citing the U.S. Constitution's so-called insurrection clause. In her 34-page decision, Bellows says she didn't come to the decision lightly. The Trump campaign says it will appeal her decision, and the final ruling will likely end up coming from the U.S. Supreme Court. The decision of the Colorado Supreme Court has already been appealed by that state's Republican Party, allowing Trump to be placed back on the ballot, but that could still change ahead of the primaries. 12 News political analyst Joe Fleming weighing in on Maine's decision to bar Trump from the ballot.
Okay. Let's dissect that a tiny bit. At least this particular news station mentioned that it's from the primary ballot, whereas many of the liberals, the far left stations, are in particular going after. He's off the ballot. He's off the ballot, and they don't talk about Colorado took him off the primary ballot, and the court, in a 4-3 decision, which was all Democrats, said that the ruling will not take effect if there's an appeal to the Supreme Court. And as long as that appeal is in process, Trump's name will be on the ballot. The Supreme Court, in order to keep his name off Colorado, the Supreme Court has until January 4th to make a decision saying or upholding Colorado. The Maine ruling, which this time comes down from just one person, the Secretary of State, also has that same caveat in there. As long as there's an appeal in process, Trump's name will go forward on the ballot. In other words, both of these entities know that it hasn't been determined if that was if Trump did incite an insurrection or not. He's been accused of it. There hasn't been a trial. The question is open. Who decides, was that an insurrection? Who makes that determination? Is it 7 judges in Colorado? Is it one person in Maine? A single person forcing their opinion on an entire state? If that's not voter suppression, I don't know what the hell is.
Well,
those rulings and those rulings should scare the crap out of every single U.S. citizen.
Well, I tell you what, it was an insurrection. It was as much an insurrection as Bill Cosby's crimes was an insert erection. Okay,
Well, then that needs to be made official. It can't just be opinion.
It's fact. It's fact.
Well, that has to be determined by a court of law.
Did you see the tweet?
With a proper trial.
He was trying to get people to destroy Mike Pence, his own vice president. You remember that tweet? Do you remember that? Do you remember what they did to Nancy Pelosi's office? All that whole nonsense.
Yeah.
If that's not insurrection, then I don't know what insert erection means. Trump did it.
But did Trump tell them to do that? Was that what he intended?
It's like someone like grasping at straws. It's like, did he say those exact words? It's just like if I said, Jim, I don't know if we should we should take a break for about 2 years from talking to each other. That's like me saying something in a soft way, but that's like the same thing.
But Deontay, again, that's what the law is all about, is words and intent.
But you can really, people always tell me, oh, you're good with your words.
Okay, let's come back to the 14th Amendment. There's a phrase in there that is being used by at least 3 states now that are going to try and get Joe Biden off the ballot. Arizona, Texas, and Georgia. They're saying that he is not eligible because he is giving aid and comfort to enemies of the United States by allowing the southern border to be wide open and allow thousands upon thousands of illegal immigrants every day into the country, and then giving them all types of benefits, transporting them pretty much wherever they want to go. He's not supporting the states who have to deal with this. They're saying that is giving aid and comfort to the enemy. They are considering this influx, this massive influx on the southern border, to be an invasion.
I think it's obvious that the real invasion is trying to invade our sense of sense, our sense of common sense.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's coming into a tit for tat pissing match. You had the Democrats try to impeach Trump. They did impeach him twice. Never got a conviction in the Senate. And the second impeachment was for his actions on January 6th. The Senate said, no, he didn't. That right there gives a lot of weight to the argument that, no, he did not incite an insurrection.
Yeah, I know a thing or two about a lot of weight. Okay, so I don't really understand how you're absolving Trump. Now, here's the thing. Again, I'm the biggest Trump supporter there is. I support him more than a whole room of braziers. Okay, but the whole idea that Trump is, that he should be looked at as, oh, he didn't do anything wrong. That's that white privilege, white power you're talking with, man. I'm telling you. And like I said, Trump is the greatest American in history. So that's what I'm saying. My credibility is sky high because I'm not anti-Trump. And I'm still saying that was clearly, his intent. You can have intent and articulate intent without saying the exact words. If I rub your arm and like blow in your ear, I didn't say any words, but I let it be known that I like you. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing.
Once again, the legal process has to be followed. This cannot be determined by opinion. Sure the hell not by one person's opinion in Maine. They've got to have a definitive answer. And the reason we've got all this in the first place, back when they were saying, oh, the election was stolen, people supposedly had evidence. They were never allowed to present whatever evidence they thought they had in court. As I mentioned last week, the courts just said, move along, nothing to see here. No, let people have their say. Let them try to prove it. If they can prove it, great. If they can't prove it, that's great too. But at least get a solid determination and take away any question. From now on, we're not going to have any election that isn't contested. There's going to be accusations every single time. We've got, like I said, is tit for tat going on with dueling impeachment attempts. I mean, the Republicans are trying to impeach Biden now. You've got Republicans trying to kick Biden off the ballot for giving aid and comfort to the enemies of the United States. And notice that it says, or given aid or comfort to enemies thereof. It doesn't say, shall have engaged in insurrection and given aid and comfort. No, it says, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the Constitution of the United States, or given aid and comfort to the enemies thereof.
Well, I tell you what, the problem is that look at the choices we have to run our country. We have one person who is entering his 80th year of life, and then we have someone else who's facing 80 years to life.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up. First off, you look at the polling numbers. Contrary to all expectation, Trump is actually leading Biden.
Well, I know
in several battleground states, sometimes by double digits.
Because he's the greatest genius in history.
Now,
Joe is just biding his time.
Now, on the generic ballot, take any generic Democrat, Trump loses. But for some reason, The Democrats are saying they are not going to get rid of Biden. They're going to run Biden. And they're going so far as to keep any possible Democrat opponent in the primary off their ballots. Florida said, we're not even going to have a primary. Joe Biden is going to be our nominee. Don't bother trying to file to run. They've just said it, period.
Okay.
They are not going to allow over 4 million people to vote to express their opinion.
Okay.
Even though a good 70%, at least 66% of people across the country don't want Biden to run again.
Okay. Speaking of Biden, what is that thing we were talking about with the migrants that I had sent you about the Chicago situation? You know, that's apparently that's squarely Joe Biden's fault. I know Trump, you know, you have to have a strong racist bone in your body to be able to really be anti-immigrants coming in. So that's cool.
Well, here you've got.
I don't mind that Trump is a white person caterer, because that actually protects all of us in the long run.
Well, what's happening in Chicago and elsewhere, it's happening in New York, basically anywhere migrants are being sent to. And I'm going to call them illegal immigrants. I'm not going to call them migrants. Some of them are legitimate asylum seekers, but no way does that apply to them all. Not by any stretch of the imagination. The federal government simply isn't stepping up and helping take care of the problem that they have created.
Can it happen on a local level? And what's the chances of it happening? These migrants coming to Ohio and attacking us, or coming to Vegas and attacking you?
Very good. Actually, they are coming to Vegas. Not in the same number, not in the same numbers, but basically what's happening for us, the path, they come into California, and then they come over to Vegas.
What about Ohio? That's what I'm worried about.
Well, Detroit's not that far away. Neither is Chicago.
What the heck does that have to do with Detroit?
It's not hard to get to Ohio from those areas, and if people thought that there were any services to be had, that's where they'd go.
So are you saying that we should get weapons to protect ourselves?
No, I'm saying you got to get on your politicians and tell them, hey, close that damn border. Get a handle on this.
You're not going to do it. I mean, even if they did, it's not going to happen with that type of speed. It's going to take a long time. And by then, who knows what can happen?
And like we talked about last week, what's scary about this situation is how many people coming in. We have no idea who they are, where they've come from. Are they on watch lists? Are they terrorists? It is impossible for me to think that we don't have bad actors come in. We've already had any number of gang members come in from South America committing crimes, including murder, and they keep coming back.
It should be some type of new felony for that, because it's just unconscionable.
Well, it's catch and release, if they can catch them in the first place.
And the Blonde Bombshell just said they are giving those migrants free plane tickets to all major cities. She also says it's just a matter of time before Cleveland and Columbus are slammed with them. That's frightening.
Yep.
Maybe the snow will protect us. Maybe they'll be like, it's too cold. I don't want to go to cold environment.
For the time being.
Yeah.
But summertime, oh yeah. No, I'm sorry, this is just completely out of hand. There are laws in place that's supposed to work, as Nikki Haley, I think, just this week was saying, the way to stop this is to get rid of the incentives for people to come here.
Yeah, they always give people from other countries like all the extra perks and stuff. It's just like a parent being really nice to the neighbor's kids and disregarding their own. It's embarrassing.
Well, it's more like inviting the neighbor's kid over for dinner and making your own kids starve.
Exactly. That's my whole point. This is
That's basically what's going on.
So you're saying that this cannot be solved at the state level? It has to be done at the national level?
Yeah, Texas just passed a law that says that they're going to start enforcing immigration laws. The federal government has said, if you try to do this, we're going to sue you. Well, Texas bears the brunt of this, but just far and away. Probably about 90% of all of the illegal immigration is coming through Texas, and people are staying there. They've got to deal with it.
No, this is embarrassing. And it's frightening. Even the blonde bombshell, she just says that they are giving them benefits that belong to our veterans and our struggling families here.
Yes.
That's just ridiculous, man. I can't believe that we have to live in this type of world. You know what? This is actually worse than Desert Storm and even the Iraq and all those Afghanistan, all those wars and stuff. This feels like some version of a uncivil war in a sense.
Well, that's. I think it's heading up. I mean, what I was going to say earlier, and then I want to wrap it up. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's just the wild thought for the day. What I think is going to happen. First off, the Democrats are going after Trump every way they can, knowing that everything they do only makes him stronger. He gets more and more support every time they attack him. So it's virtually guaranteed at this point that Trump will be the Republican nominee and be running in November. What I think is going to happen, Joe Biden is going to step down at the last minute before the Democrat convention. It'll turn into an open convention, and they'll nominate somebody new. It won't be Harris. They're probably going to go for somebody like either a Newsom from California or a Whitmer from Wisconsin.
I tell you what,
They'll run one of them as a nominee, and either one of those two people have got a good chance of beating Trump without much of a problem.
I tell you one thing. I think it's more likely that Biden won't step down. He'll actually fall down. And I would say maybe RFK Jr. is probably a better bet than any of those clowns.
RFK Jr. is no longer a Democrat. He's running on an independent ticket.
Yeah.
You got the same thing with Joe Manchin. He's doing the same thing. The Democrat who is trying to run up against Biden, there's actually two of them, but the one I know of the most is a sitting senator, Dean Phillips.
Dean Phillips is a nightmare, and he's a joke. He's a joke.
He is interesting, although lately he's come out for two policies that I question. That turns me off on him. Mainly, he's in favor of reparations. That's a whole nother topic. We can start the new year on that one.
Well, of course.
But anyway, I think the Democrats want Trump to be on the ballot, and then they'll switch their candidates at the last minute and be able to beat him. Because right now, as it stands today, Biden cannot beat Trump. Nobody wants Biden, even more so than Trump.
Well, the blonde bombshell says that it's going to take a major terrorist attack before anything is done about it because there are too many Americans supporting Biden's dumb decisions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that can lead into support for Hamas and everything else, too. So let's hold up. Okay, we've been in here for a half hour. Let's go and wrap it up. My final point on all of this is set aside emotions. Look at the law, look at things objectively, and just analyze or think about what are the attorneys going to say? What is the Supreme Court going to decide on this? And my prediction is that the Supreme Court will decide 8-1 that Trump is eligible. They might even decide 9-0, but that would surprise me. I would not be surprised to see 8-0. And certainly I wouldn't be surprised to see 7-2. But it is not going to be only the Republicans on the Supreme Court voting to allow this.
Jim, you said set aside emotion. Does that mean what if, because and like focus on the law? So if racism was a part of the law, would you want people to set aside the emotion because it's the law to be racist? I don't know. I think it's kind of the same thing.
I would want people to set aside emotion about how they feel about groups of people and just look at people objectively and say,
Right.
where does racism make sense?
Right.
It doesn't. It makes no sense whatsoever. Any law that has racism in it should be gotten rid of.
Racism makes sense to people that are racist, and that's what they would argue.
Yeah, well, people who are racist don't make sense.
Exactly.
I mean,
And even though
it's
you
that simple.
even though you did not make any sense during this whole session, I will tell you that must mean you must be racist. But I digress. I don't think that you're that racist. I will say this. You know, I may disagree with every ounce of what you're saying, but I will defend your right to say it.
And that is how I feel about you, and I did defend your right to say it.
Everybody is entitled to their white decisions and their white beliefs. Doesn't mean that they're right.
Deontay, if this wasn't such a family-friendly show, I'd be flipping you off right now.
Flipping me off with a burning cross, maybe, but it's okay. Anyways, that's how we end 2023. Martin Luther King didn't solve a daggone thing.
I'm gonna have to find out some way to send encouragement to the Blonde Bombshell to give you a little bit of hell for you giving me hell on this. I'm going to have to enlist her aid to get even with you.
Oh, the Blonde Bombshell gives me plenty of hell. She also gives
Good. Keep it up.
She also gives me plenty of heaven too. She's very heavenly. You know, but
I saw her picture. You are indeed correct.
This is how you end the old year on a bang.
Hey, 2023. It's been one hell of a year, and it still might end on a bang, and I don't mean fireworks.
Oh, wow. I don't know. That sounds like fighting words, man.
Hey, look at the security they've got in place in New York, Chicago, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Austin. I mean, there's going to be hundreds of thousands, millions of people gathered together in tight spaces. That is a huge target.
I tell you what, I'm going to get out of town in a brand new Tesla because we all know the robots cannot make those the right way. So
yeah, we didn't even talk about that. We should have.
It's embarrassing, but it's okay. Listen,
Yeah.
you were on your empty rampages. That's what. So you know, we'll much rather have your pointless, senseless rampages than something that's real productive. It's okay. It's okay.
People have we hope you all have a better new year than what we had this last year. We'll see you again next year. I'm Boomer Jim. That's Deontay X or Gen X Deontay. Shoot, I don't even know that. Yeah,
Listen,
Gen
man,
X Deontay.
just understand the South will rise again when Trump becomes presidential again. It's not about hate, it's about love, white love. You hear that?
You could at least use the proper Confederate flag. That's the battle flag of the Army of North Virginia. That's not the Confederate flag, the actual government flag. That's not the stars and bars.
That's pretty hilarious.
All right.
That
We're
says
out of here.
there's a lot that you understand what the real Confederate flag is. You got something you want to admit to me, boy?
Well, I stayed awake in history.
Oh, I think you stayed awake in history. Black history wasn't very kind to us, man. What are you trying to say? Why are you an expert? Why are you an expert in Confederate flags? That's the real question. Forget civil rights. I just want civil rights. That's what I want.
Once again, folks, as usual, we've gotten white to the point, and had a back and forth conversation about it. Y'all take care. See you next week, next year.
All right.